checklist. What's up?
Oh, good. Thanks for letting me speak. I just wanted to put out there that I'm not saying the scripture is canonized or corrupted. I'm just saying it's retold, and we do fall short. And almost every story and major character was retold from Samaria and Egypt. And these stories were retold over and over. So go about the Bible. But the good news is that we've had a lot of Christ and Messiahs, and there is a grail, and we are a part of the inheritance. And there was a guy named Yeshua who did represent our deliverer. We were anointed. We were trying. They were.
Oh, you're vomiting all this stuff out, and it's like none of this. How do you know that there's many, many Messiahs? Where are you getting this?
There's been more than one Messiah in different religions.
Well, hold on. Where are you getting this?
You have to read scripture all over the world, but
I'm familiar with world religions, but the fact that a lot of world religions claim to have different divine teachers does not mean that they all have, quote, messiahs. Messiah is a specific terminology according to Hebrew theology.
I know what you're saying, but what I'm trying to tell you is there's been more that's been sent to us.
And I'm asking you for justification for this. You're just saying it.
No, I'm saying that there's been more.
Where is the evidence of messiahs? Where is the evidence of messiahs outside of ancient Hebrew theology? It's a messianic Hebrew term.
Like the Buddha, for example. Same type.
How is the Buddha a messiah when the Messiah has a Hebrew context?
You're going to split hairs about men's terms, Jay. I'm talking about the God story right now.
You're assuming this is all one story, and I'm asking you to justify the claims, and I picked your first claim, and now you're saying that, I'm just haggling on words. You said there's many messiahs, so therefore your argument hinges on there actually being, in fact, many messiahs in other religions, right?
Sort of, yeah, kind. I mean, you're talking about people who deliver, like, overpointed lords, people who were given to us. We fall short, bro. We don't come close to that whole.
What does we fall short have anything to do with the argument you're making about there being many messiahs in many religions?
Okay, that's the good news. That's the only good news about religion, man. Is that
how do you know this?
Somebody who was
you keep saying this.
Direction.
You keep saying this. I want to know how you know this to be the case. What is your argument for that?
Back to the Old Testament when you talk about.
What is your argument for that? Saying it goes back to the Old Testament is not an argument. What is your argument for that? Because the Old Testament is not Hinduism. It's not Buddhism.
Stories are retold from ancient Egypt. They come from the Hotep.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
And the flood story was written more than once in different religions. There have been other.
That doesn't. Yeah. Do you understand what the word concept fallacy is? So the fact that there's a common story does not mean that there is a single pagan religion that's not. I mean, how do you know that it's not the? How do you know that it's not the biblical story that is the origin?
Because there's stories that predate that way back before we even.
You don't know that. No, it says who?
I do.
How do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that?
That's what we're debating.
I want to know how you know that.
Okay, so look at the flood story. They say it came from this guy. Noah.
How do you know that the flood story that's in Genesis is predated by these other accounts? How do you know that?
Because there's stuff written about the flood before the Bible was.
How do you know? I'm asking you how you know that. I don't want you to restate that it is the case. What is the evidence or the proof that it is?
I'm just trying to explain something. You just refuse.
What is the argument that those are older?
Mathematics.
How does math tell you that those are older?
So I don't need you to.
Math tells you.
With your Catholic nonsense, Jay.
Catholic, yeah. So you don't have an argument. You just melted down.
I'm talking about an opinion, bro.
You just said math. That's not an argument.
For a second, Jay.
Give an argument. Give an argument.
About is predated stories that are retold.
What is the argument it predates?
They gave us our calendar.
What is the argument it predates? I don't want you to tell me. Do you know what an argument is?
You're talking about Gilgamesh and the flood. That predates 4,000 years.
Says who and what? Says who and what is your argument that it predates it? That's my question to you.
The Dead Sea Scrolls are way younger than the Gilgamesh story.
Dead Sea Scrolls, nothing to do with what we're talking about. What is the argument?
The original Old Testament.
If you don't hush, I'm gonna. You don't know where is the original Old Testament. You're just spouting a bunch of zeitgeist. You're spouting zeitgeist nonsense.
So stop talking and let me talk for a second.
You're not giving arguments.
Story. Stop talking, Jay.
Don't.
The God story.
You're on my channel, dude.
Egypt. Stop fucking talking for a second.
Listen to this guy. Mental illness meltdown. Mental illness meltdown. You don't cuss me out on my channel. Get out of here, New Age goober.